Today we are going to rank the top 24 rookies in Dynasty post-draft. So we're going to update our rankings from the pre-draft. We're going to see how these rookie drafts are sorting out. But this is going to be our personal rankings. So again, if you disagree, that's fine. You're just as likely to be right about this as we are. We are not claiming to be experts. We understand that people are going to have different opinions. This is just the order of players that we like. And we are not NFL scouts, and we know that. And we know Steve Smith drafted Jonathan Mingo. So even though we hate him, Steve Smith is not an NFL GM. I mean, he was a good wide receiver, but I don't know if he's a good evaluator of talent. So don't be a freaking jerk in the comments. And we're going to tell you who we like, and it's going to be fun. Make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got content like this, rookie content coming out all summer. All summer. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a great offseason. We're going to help you get better with your Dynasty team, so make sure you subscribe and make sure you head over to our locals page. You can support us there. It's where all of our exclusive content is, and we're going to rank these rookies. In the S tier, we told you.
Bijan.
And
AR. Anthony Richardson,
and he deserves to be there.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
Interesting. And look,
eat it.
I know yeah, we're really good when we're really humble. When we're right about everything. Yeah. I know there are going to be people that still don't like Anthony Richardson there with Bijan. Look, I am doing you the justice of even putting Bijan in front of him because Bijan is just that safe. Bijan was the prospect. He had the profile. He got top 8 draft capital. Guys, there's not been a safer running back prospect than Bijan Robinson since probably Saquon. So let's not act like Bijan is legit. Yeah. So let's talk about Anthony Richardson then. And I have gotten into this discussion with people on Twitter about how they're ranking Stroud and Young because they're so much safer and you're not analyzing risk when you... Yeah, I understand the risk with AR. And look, I will say this. In a startup draft that we are doing, Anthony Richardson went at the 1-2 turn. That is going to be too high for my liking. There has to be some risk baked into this price. And if he's already going at the 1-2 turn, what? He's being drafted too close to his ceiling, and there are too many question marks for me to be comfortable with that. But when you're talking about rookie drafts, we are going to take the chance on Anthony Richardson, and we're taking him at the 102 every single time. Every single time. And so far in our rookie drafts, I don't know if I've seen a rookie draft where he hasn't gone 102. And you can say, oh, well, in this league, he went in the 104, and we play all the time, and blah, blah. Look, we are each in a lot of leagues, and decent leagues. They're good. We have play with good players. And Anthony Richardson is the consensus 102. So because these guys are locked in at their positions, Anthony Richardson is in the same tier as Bijan Robinson. And Anthony Richardson, again, a guy made in a lab to score fantasy points. He is the most athletic QB prospect of all time. He's going to the best landing spot in the top 5. He's going with the best QB development coach in the top 5. Him and Frank Reich are tied. Let's say that. I don't know what else you want. The upside here is crazy. Look, I mean, Anthony Richardson can come out and lay an egg next year and pass like crap and still rush his way to being a top 12 fantasy QB.
Yeah, and
so if you're scared, sell him in.
Yeah, and that really is the positive with Anthony Richardson and why so many people are being very, very bold in drafting him so early in startups is like he could literally be the 30th best quarterback in the NFL, and
or it could be the first.
Maintain his value.
Wow.
Because of how bad from an NFL perspective Justin Fields was last year, and he like skyrocketed in value because he did so well in fantasy. So I get that with Anthony Richardson. Again, though, like, I mean, goodness, coming out of college, he is even an even worse passer completion percentage.
He has higher draft
capital. So I understand why so many people are very excited about taking him high. I get that. Again, there's just going to be a trade-off there because a lot of people are passing up on proven quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray that have the guaranteed long-term deals.
Yeah, you need to be careful there for sure. You have elite quarterbacks.
This is coming from like diehard Colts fans too.
He is literally our favorite player now. We love him.
Yeah, there will be a jersey.
We are pumped. When his jersey gets here, it's going right there.
You know, it's going to be AR5.
I know. I love it.
It's got a barber stop 15.
Again, I know. Again, We're going to be a little bit more conservative, but you're going to get a lot of AR propaganda from this channel. All right, moving down to the next tier now, we are going to have Stroud, Young, JSN, and Gibbs. And we're going to rank them in that order. So we are still going to take CJ Stroud over Bryce Young. Bryce Young, obviously, going to a situation in Carolina where Jonathan Mingo is going to be his wide receiver one, which is...
No, Thielen will be the wide receiver one.
Yeah, Thielen is much better.
Yeah,
Thielen is much better.
Yeah, and I know Simon disagrees with us here. He said he would still take Bryce Young over Stroud, which honestly, look, it's still
same tier.
Who cares? It's a 50-50.
We just like Stroud more.
Same tier. I just like Stroud's rushing upside in a situation that is slightly more ideal currently.
Slightly less horrible.
Slightly less horrible, I guess, than what's going on in Carolina. And no, Jonathan Mingo does not help Bryce Young's situation. It's still the same wide receiver.
But Young has a better situation coaching-wise, too. So there's also that. I mean, Reich could...
We don't know what DeMeco Ryans yet. He's never been a
he's not
going
to be a quarterback development coach like Reich is. Reich's good with quarterbacks.
Right. So I thought you said Stroud was in a better situation than Young.
No. I'm saying Young has a better coaching situation.
Yes.
So you could make that argument as well.
I thought you said Stroud.
Don't split hairs. We're taking Stroud. Take Young. Young's been going mostly at the 103. So Young and Stroud, these guys, safe prospects. They're both very good. Young is really, really safe. I think he the question marks is size. Stroud really doesn't have any question marks other than his S2 score, which, we didn't back off of our ranking of Stroud, and I told you I put $20 on him going 102, and I won 150. So
you could have lost it in a hurry though, man. It could have been Will Anderson and Stroud, and that would have sucked.
Oh, that would have sucked.
That would have super sucked.
It wasn't, though.
Yeah.
Bold move by the Texans. Then we got JSN, who we are going to put over Jahmyr Gibbs. I think a lot of people are shorting JSN right now because of his landing spot. We've got a video coming out about this week. But I can't in good faith. Although Gibbs is a top 5 running back, I think JSN is still a top 10 dynasty wide receiver. And right now, I think a lot of people, again, are shorting him because of his landing spot, because he slid down to 20. And in reality, I found myself in this position. I just couldn't pass on JSN. I can't. The value is going to be completely insulated. There are going to be very little question marks, honestly. I mean, he's played with an elite receiving core before. JSN is going to be our pick there, and then Gibbs is obviously the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is going into an offense that, really, DeAndre Swift, from an efficiency standpoint, was awesome. I mean, he was really, really good for the snap share percentage that he got, which was horrible. And Detroit goes out of their way to trade away DeAndre Swift and draft Jahmyr Gibbs 12th overall.
I'm sorry.
So really, I know if you're upset about that, whatever. But from a fantasy perspective, you got to be thinking, okay, so they gave up one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL from a snap share perspective, translating into fantasy points, and they're going to get a guy that has the same skill set, less injury concerns, and insanely high draft capital. That means Jahmyr Gibbs, we're going to go out on a limb here and say Jahmyr Gibbs, he has the upside to be that efficient, and he will get more snap share than DeAndre Swift did.
Yes,
he will. And that's the
people who say that he's going to get the Swift treatment. That's a stupid argument.
It's a recipe for an elite running back.
Did you see their reaction when they drafted him at 12? And the fact that they spent a top 12 pick on him, he's going to get as much as he can handle. If he gets above 50% snap share, he's going to be so efficient that it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is hilarious because there were a lot of people that were shorting Gibbs. All right, next tier. Quentin Johnson. We're putting him at the front of this tier for an obvious reason. He's playing with Justin Herbert. And honestly, he has the potential. I'm not saying he's guaranteed. He has the potential to be the wide receiver one in Los Angeles. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen have both struggled with injury on and off for the last 2 seasons. Keenan Allen's hamstrings are dying. Mike Williams, it seems like every time he's healthy, his ankle just poops out. And so with that, Quentin Johnson, a guy that is bigger, plays small, runs small after the catch, very athletic for his size. I like this. I think they're going to be able to push it down the field a little bit more. I think Quentin Johnson's going to be a big part of that. And I think don't underestimate Quentin Johnson's ability after the catch either. He's in a great situation, and he's primed to produce pretty early in his career. And then we've got Jordan Addison after that. Yeah,
with Jordan Addison, he's going to be the safest of the guys in this tier. He's playing behind TJ Hawkinson and the GOAT, Justin Jefferson.
GOAT.
He's clearly going to be filling the role that Adam Thielen left vacant when he went to the Carolina Panthers. So that's a productive role. Look what Thielen did with Justin Jefferson for the first 3 seasons when he wasn't injured, and that was a very, very consistent, very reliable wide receiver. And now you're getting that in the younger version of Jordan Addison, who I think his upside is even higher than that. And Kirk Cousins can support it. I know Kirk Cousins has his, you can have your own concerns with him from an NFL perspective. Looks like he's going to be in Minnesota for the foreseeable future. And I think while he's there, you got to be feeling good about Addison. He's going to deliver, and he is as NFL ready as you're going to get from the wide receiver position in this rookie class.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got Zay Flowers. And Zay Flowers is definitely getting the short end of the stick here because I don't know why. I think people are worried about Zay Flowers from a Baltimore receiver perspective. I'm not confident that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to take a huge chunk of his production. But you have to understand that Baltimore is likely to throw 500 plus passing attempts this year.
Yeah. I honestly wonder how many people actually know that Greg Roman is no longer the offensive coordinator in Baltimore, and he was the one that ran the offense. Okay, it wasn't Harbaugh. And guys, the offense. Lamar is still Lamar, okay? So he's still going to have rushing upside. He's now paid. He struggled with injury the last couple of years, so I don't think they're going to just flippantly run him as much as they used to, especially like Greg Roman did specifically. And I think Lamar's a good passer. There's going to be more volume to go around there. And it's not like there wasn't volume to go around to begin with. While Lamar was healthy at the beginning of the year last year, dude, he was balling out and throwing 35 plus passes per game, and he was on track to be a top 3 quarterback easily in fantasy.
Yeah.
So Zay Flowers, I think, is going to do fine in Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got a teardrop, and this is a pretty substantial teardrop here, honestly. But we're going to put Will Levis at the top of this tier, mainly because we're drafting in super flex leagues. If you're not drafting in a super flex league, obviously he moves way down the list. But with Will Levis, I mean, you're talking about comparing him against Dalton Kincaid, who is a first-year tight end, who has a great landing spot, and we have them in the same tier. Zach Charbonnet, who's going to a team that already has a cemented running back one. Like, I do not understand why they drafted him at all, and I'll get to that in a minute. But, I mean, and then you're talking about Michael Mayer, Kendra Miller, Devon Achane. So, in a Superflex league, I mean, the Titans definitely did not trade up to get Will Levis to have him sit. Even though Mike Vrabel says, oh, he's the quarterback 3, like, Mike Vrabel's just blowing smoke up people's butt half the time. I mean, they know good and well that they went up to draft Will Levis to have him start, which honestly, do I believe in Will Levis and like him? No, but I'm drafting based on value here. And honestly, Will Levis will be the starter in Tennessee sometime next year. Maybe it will be at the start of the year. I don't know. I mean, you really don't think he can beat Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis out in camp? Because I definitely think he can, and I know he thinks he can because he's really confident in himself too. Yeah. But with knowing the Titans, do I think it's going to work out long term? The Titans are just a kind of a dumpster fire organization that they don't really deserve to have a football team. So no, I don't think it's going to work out. But
shots fired.
One
of the biggest non-rookie winners of this NFL draft in 2023 is going to be Treylon Burks. So Levis can absolutely support some high volume passing in Tennessee, which we have not seen for years and years and years. So Dalton Kincaid, we are so hype about this guy. I mean, we called our shot. We said Kincaid is greater than Michael Mayer, and I actually said that first, and you went with me, and you thought it. Yeah, and he gets the best landing spot possible. The whole Dawson Knox stuff comes full circle. Kincaid gets first-round draft capital. Gabe Davis is not what people thought he could be, which we also called. And Kincaid is going to get plenty of target share, plenty of volume. I think right off the bat, I think he's ready to go. I think he's going to be a nice red zone threat for Josh Allen. And honestly, from the tight end position in a bare tight end landscape, the sky's the limit for this guy. In a class that is incredibly deep with a ton of talent and a lot of second round tight ends that went, I mean, so many second and third round tight ends, it speaks volumes to Kincaid's ability that the Bills took him first round over all those other tight ends. And I think he's going to ball out in Buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. Zach Charbonnet, a guy that should be higher on this list because he was a running back that got second round draft capital, but the team that took him already has a running back. Why did Pete Carroll take a running back? Why did he have to ruin the potential value of one of my favorite Dynasty rookies?
Yeah,
ever.
In the clear obvious answer is this is just an example, another example that the NFL doesn't care about your fantasy team, and if they find a weapon in the second round that's going to complement the rest of their team and their offense, they're going to take their shot. And I know a lot of people have been saying, Rashad Penny paired with Chris Carson, that's what they always wanted and they never got it because Rashad Penny kept getting injured, and that's why they wanted Rashad Penny to be paired with Kenneth Walker last year, and of course it didn't work out because they were injured. And now it's like they actually have an opportunity to do what they've always wanted to do, and we've never been able to see it. So I think from an NFL perspective, it'll be really fun to see what the offense in Seattle can do. From a fantasy perspective, I mean, you got to think thumbs down.
Sucks
for sure from the ceiling that we thought Charbonnet was going to have in a running back one role, but I mean, we're kind of left hanging here going into the season, and at this point, this is really where you've got to primarily trust the draft capital and that he's going to maintain his value throughout his rookie contract, and maybe he'll end up landing in a better situation or something. I don't know, something crazy will happen. The running back position's so volatile, you never really know. So at the end of the first here, I do still think this is a fine value for Zach Charbonnet. Yeah, it's gross. It really, really is. But there is very little excuse to let him fall further than the 112.
Yeah, it's depressing.
Definitely,
I'm depressed.
Not behind A-Chain.
Let's talk. Oh my gosh, let's talk about the next year, which has Michael Mayer in it. First, I'll let you talk about Michael Mayer, and then Miller.
Michael Mayer is replacing Darren Waller, who was hyper productive in Vegas. Yes, it's a different coaching staff than when Waller was really doing a great job there with Derek Carr for a couple years. I think Michael Mayer is. He had a bit of a fall from grace from where he was going into here. I mean, he was getting top 15 NFL draft capital buzz, and he ends up falling into, later into the second. And I think his fantasy upside long term is still going to be roughly the same as what I predicted going into the NFL draft. I think, do I think he has elite upside? I mean, maybe, but there's not much outside of Devontae Adams, who, he takes 33% of the target share in that offense. It's Jacoby Myers, and then it's Michael Mayer. So he really finds himself in a nice situation, and it's definitely notable what George Kittle did with Jimmy Garoppolo for multiple years, and Garoppolo likes throwing to tight ends because he's a mid quarterback, and he makes the right throws, and he lets his weapons around him do what they do after the catch. So I think Michael Mayer is in a very, very nice position, a very safe pick overall. He's going to maintain his value.
Yeah, and then Kendre Miller. Kendre Miller obviously going to the Saints. Early third-round capital, so he gets day 2 capital, and he's the first of some of these running backs to go, which is a good sign. I think the Saints have big plans for him. I think Alvin Kamara, while they're not actively looking to just run him off right away, I think everybody's pretty well aware that he's not going to last there forever. Obviously, he has legal issues as well. So with that and Jamal Williams being there, I think Kendre Miller is going to have a role there. I think that he's going to have a lot of opportunity potentially if Kamara gets suspended. So he's somebody that I'm definitely interested in taking in the first part of the second round of these drafts. And look, there's going to be the argument, and I've seen on Twitter all the polls, Miller versus A-Chain. Which one? We'll tell you why we're taking Miller here in a second. But with Miller, obviously, it's about the opportunity, it's about the draft capital he got, and it's about the potential scheme that he's walking into where he could get a lot of production. So, then Devon A-Chain is going to finish off this tier.
Yeah, Devon A-Chain goes to the Dolphins. Best possible landing spot, best possible draft capital. Honestly, we'll take our L here from a draft capital standpoint. We thought he wasn't going to get any better than 4th round draft capital. We really wanted him to go to the Colts to be paired with Jonathan Taylor. It didn't happen. I honestly thought the Dolphins kind of reached on him, but hey, if he fits the scheme that Mike McDaniel wants to do down there in Miami, then all power to you. That's just another weapon that they can add to that already dynamic offense. With him, he really shouldn't be going any higher than this, guys. Please do not take him late first over a guy that has 2nd round draft capital in Zach Charbonnet, 1st round draft capital in elite upside in Dalton Kincaid, and literally a starting quarterback in a super flex league. Devon A-Chain does not belong in that tier. He does not. He does not have bell cow workload. He is too small. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he has PPR ability. He's going to get some volume in that offense, hopefully. but he's a gadget guy. And from an NFL perspective, that can be priceless. In fantasy, that doesn't always mean everything. I do really like his value in the early to mid second, especially since he's got one of the best landing spots in the second round of all these guys. So that's fine there. But again, earlier, please don't do that.
I mean, why are we putting all of our chips in on a sub 190 back? We know the hit rates for this, and everybody wants to inflate him because of the landing spot. And number one, we've learned our lesson with that in terms of running backs before. Yeah. But honestly, Devon Achane, I mean, he's gonna get what? 8 to 10 touches a game, probably not going to get a ton of red zone work. He's not super extraordinary in the passing game as well. So realistically, how many points a game do we expect Devon Achane to score?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have a pretty freaking low floor here, guys.
Yeah, and one of the biggest comps is always, and I still feel like it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. Whoa, why are you putting all your chips in for Jahmyr Gibbs and you're not for Achane? Because Jahmyr Gibbs got top 15 draft capital, guys, and he was replacing DeAndre Swift. The Lions intentionally did that. Achane is just a better version of whoever's in that backfield already, Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, and he's going to get this.
That's flexible.
He's going to get
That's flexible in fantasy.
He's not, like Nathan said, he's not a workhorse back. Let's fly through these guys real quick. Nathan, I'll let you talk about Marvin Mims since he's your baby.
Marvin Mims is my baby. He is the last receiver here that got late second round draft capital going to the Broncos. I think that offense is going to look a lot different with a way better coach in Sean Payton, who's going to make a lot of changes. They tried to get Jerry Jeudy off their hands. They couldn't, so they picked up his 5th-year option. I think that means Cortland Sutton's going to be out the door after this year, and that really opens up the door for Marvin Mims to walk into and really have a nice career there in Denver, at least an early career where he can, make some noise in the slot and get some volume.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Downs is the next guy. Josh Downs walks into Indianapolis, and I project that he's going to be the wide receiver 2 there. We love Alec Pierce, but the way that Josh Downs' game complements Michael Pittman is too good to ignore. And people who are saying that Josh Downs takes away from Michael Pittman are delusional. They play completely separate games. They're completely different types of receivers, and they need them both. The Colts have long needed a slot receiver that is a little bit speedier, that can work the middle of the field, and now they have that. And in between Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman on the sidelines and Josh Downs working the slot, I think they've got a viable receiving core there. I think he's going to help Anthony Richardson out a lot. I think the Colts are going to continue to pass the ball, and although Josh Downs slid further than I would have liked him to, now I can get him mid-second, late second, and I'm taking more of a just shot in the dark on him. Again, we start to get to dark throw territory here, but I like his landing spot a lot, and I think he's going to fit very well in that offense. Roschon Johnson.
We really like Roschon Johnson from an immediate contender value fantasy perspective. He's got 4th-round draft capital, not ideal, but hey, I mean, he's not going to go any higher in the NFL draft when he's playing behind Bijan Robinson for the entirety of his relevant career in Texas. I think he offers a lot to the table for the Bears offense going into this year while Justin Fields still develops as a passer. And really, we hope for him personally that he does improve as a passer and has a successful career. But for now, I mean, they've got to fill the hole that David Montgomery left when he went to Detroit. And honestly, I think Roschon Johnson could be just as good, if not better, than David Montgomery turned out to be while he was in Chicago. Khalil Herbert has 6th-round draft capital going into his 3rd year. He's not going to take the workload there. It's going to be Roschon Johnson, and Khalil Herbert is going to continue to be that complementary back in that offense. Really excited to see what Roschon can do there, though.
Yeah, then we got Rashee Rice, and obviously he goes over to Kansas City in the late 2nd round. So great landing spot and pretty good draft capital as well. And so you might be asking why, we just personally aren't as high on Rashee Rice. And again, I think people want to inflate Rashee Rice because of his landing spot, and for us, we're going to inflate him for his draft capital. We got higher draft capital than we expected, and then we're not going to inflate him anymore. So we didn't even have him in our top 24. We've moved him all the way up to 19. Okay, that's going to be good enough for us. Going to Kansas City, number 1, Travis Kelce is going to get the large majority of those targets. Number 2, every single week it's somebody different. Mahomes says it himself, but you see it. Andy Reid is very good about getting people involved. You have Kadarius Toney there. You have Jerick McKinnon just re-signed there today, and he is going to, again, be very involved in that offense. You've still got Sky Moore, who could still develop into being something, and he got used a little bit in the playoffs last year. So again, it's going to be somebody different every week for Kansas City, and I'm not willing to move him way up these rankings because he's going and playing with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to make any wide receiver good, and I understand that, but because of that, it sometimes allows those receivers to lack consistency, and we're going to not expect things out of him just like we shouldn't have, and in hindsight, expected of Sky Moore.
Juju's a better wide receiver than Rashee Rice is, and Rashee Rice was drafted to fill those shoes. So I wouldn't be expecting a ton from him really right off the bat.
I'll double up here. I'll take Laporta. So Laporta is kind of a my guy now. I've had to choose new my guys because Seattle took the one of them, and then our division rival took Stroud, and I did get Josh Downs on my favorite team, so that's a good one. But he got 3rd round draft capital, so I'm kind of ticked about that. But with Laporta, there's going to be an immediate opportunity for him to produce there because of the Jameson Williams suspension. He's a guy that ran a 4.59 40. He's super athletic. He's very versatile. He's a good route runner. He's got great hands. He has potential to be a very good playmaker in the NFL, if not short term on a points per game basis, more long term. And because of where he's going in the late 2nd, early 3rd of startup drafts, I mean, we put him one tier behind Michael Mayer. Personally, when I'm ranking rookie tight ends, I put them in the same tier. He got the 2nd highest draft capital of all the tight ends, so he makes for a pretty good pick, and he's going to round out this tier for us. And then I'll let you cover the first 2 guys here, and that is Jaden Reed and Jonathan Mingo.
I'll take the whole tier here. So Reed and Mingo both have 2nd round draft capital. Yes, they're lower in our rankings because they have a ton of question marks going with them. They were drafted, I personally think, to be the wide receiver 2s in their own offense, maybe with the exception of, I guess, Jaden Reed. He'll be the slot receiver. He could be, playing the wide receiver 1 position. That doesn't mean he's going to be the wide receiver 1
that dude off in
Green Bay, but he's got the slot receiver role there. With Mingo, I think he's more of a field stretcher, and they're both older. Like they're both old. So we just have too many questions right now.
I just don't like him.
And we don't like him. So with Hendon Hooker, he's got 3rd round draft capital, early 3rd. The Lions traded up to get him, and honestly, he's, of all the 3rd round QBs that have gone in recent years, Hooker's probably going to be the most intriguing for us because of Jared Goff's situation in Detroit and how really it's the weapons around him that make that offense good, not necessarily Jared Goff. And Hooker has all of the tools that Jared Goff has, and maybe even a little more rushing upside. So that's something to keep an eye on, and it's worth a shot.
Goff's capable, but Hendon Hooker's he projects as like a more athletic Goff. So, I mean, it's interesting tier there. And then our last one, we're going to do Tyjae Spears. Tyjae Spears obviously going over to the Tennessee Titans. Don't expect him to have a huge role, even for the next 3 years. I'm of the opinion that Derrick Henry is an alien, and he is going to continue to produce and continue to dominate. So
never not haunt the Colts.
Right. So I just can't rank Tyjae that high. Tank Bigsby, I think a lot of people are thinking Tank's going to take away a lot from ETN. Don't forget ETN's a PPR back. Tank's probably going to get, I don't know. I don't see him being very involved this year. I do see Doug Peterson using both of them, but not enough, for us to move on.
They're noteworthy, though.
Yeah, no, exactly. Jalen Hyatt got lower draft capital like we kind of suspected he would. We had seen some mock drafts where he was going, 1st round, and we had to adjust our mocks because of that. But because he doesn't get that draft capital, we are safe to move him down. And honestly, with Jalen Hyatt, I don't see him being the wide receiver 1 on that team next year. And I'm not super.
It's probably going to be Wando.
Yeah. I'm not super amped about that, but we'll see with Jalen Hyatt. That is a wide open wide receiver room, so I guess that anything could happen.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yep. That's it for us.
Oh, I thought there was one more.
No, Reed. We had Reed.
Oh, we had it on there twice. Okay. Yeah. All right, so that's going to round it out. That's actually 26, guys, not 24, but our title will say 24 because it's a nice even multiple of 12, and that's what gets people's attention. So let us know what you think kindly, because, again, you're not going to agree with everything we say. We don't like Mingo. Mingo got some of the best draft capital here, and that's just because we just don't like him. And honestly, we think Carolina reached for him, and we're just taking our shot. So we're going to call our shots. Call yours. Let us know where you agree, where you disagree. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got rookie content like this coming out all off-season long, and it's going to get even busier here. So make sure you're subscribed. We really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.